Happy lunchtime. We are live on the Blue Plate Special, and we're glad to have you here with us at Wisdom Harbor Studios, The Wharf in Orange Beach, Alabama. I'm Andy Andrews. I'm your host, and I don't know, is anybody there? Matt, did you know that I can't see the screen?
I am working on it.
Oh, he's working on it, but that's okay. I am excited about being with you today. We have some kind of odd stories to tell you, and I think you're going to get a kick out of them. One of them I don't really tell, and I don't know if I should tell today, but I'm going to. You like the shirt? This is Sand Dollar Lifestyles, and as you know, every shirt is printed on the back, so we took a picture of the back for you. Matt, could you show them the back of this shirt?
All right, there it is.
This is Alabama with Marlins. How about that? From Sand Dollar Lifestyles, right down here, the cornerstone of the wharf. I think I am closer than they are to a escalator statue, but our escalator statues here are fantastic, very lifelike. And you should, when you come to visit, you should definitely take a picture of them. Listen, if you would, please click your notification button if you're with us on Facebook. If you're with us on Instagram, hi, how you doing? Twitter, you guys, thank you so much for being with us. And if you're on YouTube, click that subscription button, and that would really help a lot. We really appreciate it. I see Scott Carley is here. Scott Carley. Scott, you know way too much about just like my past, my childhood, because you're a part of it. Where is Scott Cross, by the way? I'm just very curious. So you heard me this morning on The Mighty Mess with Miss Irene. Yes. I was on with Irene Robinson. They're in Oak Grove, Louisiana. I have done her radio show more than Kreskin has done The Tonight Show. And the very first time I ever did her show, I've never been there, but I've done it on the telephone. But the very first time, evidently they have a glass front that looks out on a main street. And I knew this is a good show, because like right in the middle of the interview, Irene says, hang on, excuse me just a second, Andy. Everybody, Michael did really well this morning. Looks like he got a good buck. He's going down Main Street with, looks like a 10-point on the hood of his car. Congratulations, Michael. Okay, Andy. Now, what were we talking about? And I thought, this is great. This is hilarious. And so I need to go sit in the booth with her sometime. Michael Marty, happy Tuesday to you. Pat Rice, eating lunch. And there's another Louisiana right there by Catherine Pierce. Hey, how are you doing, Catherine? I wanted to talk today just about kind of some funny stuff, and we're gearing up here for the release of the book. Just Jones, we're all kind of waiting on it, and there's Judith DeWitt from the state of Washington, and Judson Perkin. You like the props? Do you know? You've been in my office, so you probably know what these are. But we're getting geared up for the release of Just Jones, and so out here beyond where I'm sitting right now, I'm in this glass enclosed studio, and hey PC, and right out beyond me is what we're kind of calling the general store. And it's, let's see, Patricia Clapp says, what Zig Ziglar book did you read on audiobook? Ooh, I just told somebody this the other day, and I can't remember. Matt, do you remember what book it was? I'll tell that story in a second, but anyway, we're getting everything ready, because we're not only going to have autographed books and some shirts and stuff. We're going to have it's kind of a museum.
Was it Born to Win?
What was it?
Born to Win? Was that it?
Born to Win?
The book?
I
That you were the
don't know.
narrator
You
for?
tell me. I'm asking you.
I believe so. That's what Amazon's saying.
Amazon says that. Well, if Amazon says it, it must be true. So, Patricia, I did Born to Win. And if you read Born to Win, I'll see you, and I do mean you, at the top. How about that? So, we're creating kind of not only just a little retail general store, because we're going to have some of the photographs that I take that are going to be, which are like these, are going to be for sale. They're signed and numbered, limited edition. Scott Dawson, how are you doing? And we're going to have, and we've got cabinets out here that I'm putting a bunch of, like, just museum stuff. You know, we've got all the Andy Griffith stuff in one of the cabinets, got some stuff from from Winston Churchill. We just got a bunch of stuff. We got Jones's, his suitcase, and you're going to be surprised. But as we're going through all this stuff to figure out what do we want to put out there, I'm looking at some of the things that, you know, we're getting them off the shelves in my office and out of my closet that I didn't have. There's Cindy Ziegler-Rose. That's Zig's daughter. Oh my gosh. I just did your dad. Did you hear that? And I am. Cindy says it is. It's born to win. It's born to win. You would know. And I'm sorry that I couldn't remember. I've got a couple of Zig books right over there. When you come to see the studio, you'll see my Zig books. But anyway, I'm going to do your podcast. Do you know when yet? Because I don't really know yet. Or SB hadn't told me, or Tom hadn't told her, or something. But I cannot wait to do that. And there's Sonia Isaacs. Sonia has a better voice than anybody in the world. I appreciate you guys being with us today. So let me tell you these stories, okay? These two stories. Then I will tell you. We'll talk about some other stuff, okay? So as we're looking through this stuff and figuring out what to put out, some of the stuff is kind of and then some of the stuff is I still don't really understand this. I've got some celebrity, I guess, or for lack of a better word, memorabilia that's very odd. I used to never get anybody to sign anything for me because I always thought, people ask me to sign stuff and I don't know that they're going to know where that is 30 minutes from now. But then I thought, some of these people are going to be famous forever. Some of these people are going to be in history books. And so I'm going to start to get some of these people to sign something of theirs. And so, I spent some time with General Schwarzkopf, so I had him sign an ammo box from Desert Storm. Nancy Lopez has signed a golf club for me. She signed her golf shoes for me. In fact, one day, Nancy and I were out on the golf course, and she had told me a couple of times to keep my head down, and evidently I didn't do it again. And so she said, could I see your driver, please? And I said, sure. And she took it, and with a Sharpie, she wrote, Andy, keep your head down. Nancy, right on top of my driver. So, and I said, are you kidding me? You think I'm going to use this from now on? I'm not going to use it from now on. So now it's in my office. Maybe I should bring it up here. But this was an 20 years ago, almost 21 years ago, when Austin was born, got this little rattle. And Matt, I think you have a close-up picture. It's a little tarnished now, but you still see the etching on it. It was to Austin from Bart and Cherry Star. So all you football fans, you Packer fans, I've always kept that in my office. I told Polly, I said, the kid's not playing with this. This is going to be for him forever, but he's not going to be in it. Look at that. It actually rattles. It's a rattle that actually rattles. I didn't really know it actually rattled. I just knew it had Bart and Cherry Star's name on it. So that's really cool. And I don't know that that's going to go in here, but it might. But these baseballs are going to go in here. I've got a bunch of baseballs, but I've got two that are very odd. Okay, and these are the kind of the two odd ones. I was in Las Vegas. This was years ago, and I was in Las Vegas and walking through the mall that is attached to Caesar's Palace there, and you know these memorabilia places where they have signed football, signed baseball, signed posters from movies, and this signed gloves, signed helmets, and it's all hundreds of dollars worth of stuff. There was one of those in that mall, and so I'm just walking by, and I see kind of a small crowd of people around a table right outside. It's kind of in the mall area, but it's outside the store. A small group of people around a table, and then a larger ring of people around that. So I look, and I'm trying to see who it is. And this is probably 2 years after. I don't know if you know, I had a PBS special, but I did. And like most PBS specials, it played over and over and over and over and over, and then it played over and over and over. And it's just like, hey, if you'll send us $500, we'll send you this CD. You know what I'm saying? It's like they never did they not know people can go on Amazon? I never figured that out. In any case, the PBS festival played a lot, and so I was walking there, and I'm looking to see what's going on over the table, and there's Pete Rose signing baseballs. And so honestly, I'm kind of like, all right. I mean, I felt real burned by like Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all that. I really followed that, and so I got disillusioned by just a lot of those guys. And so, I see Pete Rose. And my dad used to just love Pete Rose. My dad would say, now watch. Even when he walks, he runs to first base. And, Charlie Hustle. And he broke the record of, hits. More hits than anybody in Major League Baseball. And then, the scandal. And so I see him over there. And, of course, he's banned from baseball still. And I'd never met him or anything, but I just see it's him. And now I'm in that second ring. I'm not up by the table. I'm away. I'm in that second ring. I see him over there. And he hands somebody a baseball and looks out, and he goes, PBS. Hey, PBS. PBS, come here, PBS. And I'm like, oh no. And people are kind of doing this, and he goes, PBS, come here, PBS. And so I walk up, and he says, hey, PBS. And I said, hey, how are you doing? He says, good. My friends told me to watch you, and I watched you on PBS. No, what's your real name? I said, Andy Andrews. And he said, oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll call you PBS. He said, hey, can I sign you a ball? Can I sign a baseball for you? And I said, sure, thank you. And he said, what do you want me to put on it? And I said, I'm sorry I bet on baseball. And he went. And everybody standing around went. But he went, okay, all right, I will. So I get this baseball signed by Pete Rose. I'm sorry I bet on baseball. and it's to Andy PBS, and but there it is, Matt. I think you've got a close up of it. But so he hands it to me, and then the lady says, that's standing there. She says, "It's $400," and I said, "No, I think he gave that to me." She said, "No, sir, we're selling these balls, and that's $400." And I said, "Well, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't ask for it, and so I guess you can keep it." And he heard that, and he said, "No, that's for him. I gave that to him." She goes, "Okay, you know, hey, Jimmy Erie. All right, so now wait till you hear the rest of the story." So this is like 6 or 7 years later, and I'm going to do this thing. I'm doing this thing with Coach Saban, and it's for a young person's a young person's charity, and the guy who was head of it, he's gonna meet me like 2 weeks ahead of time, and we're gonna eat lunch. And now he does these charities all over the United States. I mean, it's one charity, but he does these kind of banquet things around the country. And so a lot of these big coaches like Nick are involved in it. There was one up at Ohio State. There was one out near USC. There's one over in Georgia. And so a lot of these college football coaches like lend their names to these things. And so I was going to be here, the one that that Nick was with. And so Mike Gottfried is who his was. Mike Gottfried used to be a college football coach, but Mike Gottfried had this big charity. And so I'm having lunch with Mike, and Mike, he travels around the United States, and of course, not only was he a college football coach, he was an announcer on ESPN. And so he knows all the sports people. So we're eating lunch, and right in the middle of lunch, he said, "Oh, I meant to say something to you. I had lunch with Pete Rose a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't know you guys were friends." And I said, "What?" "Well, I met him, and I mean, I didn't want to say I didn't know we were either, But he said, "I didn't know you guys were friends," and I said, "Yeah, I met him in Las Vegas," and he said, "Well, don't let me forget, because he gave me a baseball that he signed to you, and I've got it in the car." I said, "Okay, all right." And so after lunch, we went out, and now understand, I've only seen Pete Rose once in my life. And then 7 years later, I get this one. Matt, can you show that? So I've got "I'm sorry I bet on baseball," and an "Andy, pray for me." And so I have. You never know what's going on in somebody's life. And those are two balls that will sit side by side here at Wisdom Harbor, and you can see them if you come. Can I tell you one more baseball story? I've got one more. I've probably got several more, but this is one more good one, and I've got this ball at the house. But Ray Knight was the most valuable player in the 1986 World Series. Now, Ray Knight was the third baseman for the Mets, most valuable player. And I mean, cover of Sports Illustrated, everything. And so, There was one night I was at Ray's house. We stayed up late eating pizza, and hey, Mark Lowry, and we stayed up late eating pizza, and so we're talking, and I'm asking him just about what it takes to play and just the mindset. I'm just asking questions. I always do. And I had my boys at that time were, I don't know, probably 7 and 5. I mean, very young, and so Ray has a couple of kids, and as we're talking about that and him ending up most valuable player in the World Series, because he felt like he almost didn't make it to the major leagues, and then here he is, most valuable player in the World Series. And I say, so the 86 series, so they all run together to me, okay? But he says, yeah, 86. He said, we came back and we beat the Red Sox. And I said, was that the one? And he said, yes, it was. It's the one where Mookie Wilson hit the ground ball that went through Bill Buckner's legs. And Boston lost the game and eventually lost the series. And Ray hit the home run that won that final game. And so, hey, old man, Kevin's here. And so as we sit there, it's like, I don't know, 11:30, 12 o'clock. And Ray said, hey, when you get to a certain point in baseball, the bat companies, they will make a signature bat for you. And I've got some of my bats. Would you like one of the bats? Like a bat for each of your boys. And I'll send a bat for your boys. And I said, shoot, yeah. So he says, okay, they're up in the attic. And I was like, okay. So we go and pull down the steps. So we pull down the steps and we go up and pull the light. And there's a bunch of, like, if you played Little League like I did, you know what a bat bag looks like, the green bat bags. There's like 7 or 8 bat bags laying around. And he picks up one, he dumps them out, and goes, oh, no, those aren't it. And he picks up another and don't know, that's not it. And I said, what are all these bats? He said, well, you know how I said that when you get to a certain point, the bat companies will make a signature bat for you. And he said, so not many guys have those. And he said, so we trade them throughout your career, in batting practice. He said, go up to Johnny Bench and say, hey, trade bats. And he said, yeah, please give it to them. My guy will give your guy. And he said, so at the end of your career, you end up with a ton of bats. So I'm looking through all these bats, and there's Willie Stargell and Johnny Bench and Tony Perez and, Hank Aaron and Felix Mian and Rico Carri. I mean, it's just unbelievable. He has all these bats. And so he finally finds his bats and signs one to Austin, one to Adams. So I got my bats, and I'm thrilled. Now, but he keeps looking through this stuff, and he says, oh, here's baseball cards. Let me sign one of the baseball cards for him. I said, great. So he signs one of the baseball cards to each of them. And then he goes, just looking through, he says, oh, here's the Sports Illustrated that I was on the cover for the MVP of the World Series. Can I sign one of those? I said, have you got several? He said, oh yeah, I got several. And so he signed one of those to the boys. So I got the cover. I said, I got the bats. I got that baseball card. So now he goes into this other thing, and he pulls out a jersey, number 22, New York Mets, has dirt on it. And he says, let me sign one of these for him. I said, Ray, you have kids, man. You don't need to give me that jersey. He said, it was a 7-game series. I wore 7 of them. I said, okay, I'll take the jersey. So got the jersey. And then the last thing he found, he said, ooh, here, let me give you this. These balls, when they're used in the World Series, they are stamped with the World Series stamp. And so, it says 1986 World Series, and I noticed there's already 2 signatures on it, and he signs it, and he gives it to me, and so we have the ball. Now, this is just a ball from the 86 series. This is not the ball. This is a ball from the 86 World Series, and it's signed by Mookie Wilson, the guy who hit the ground ball, Bill Buckner, the guy who let the ball go through his legs, and Ray Knight, the MVP of the World Series. And so at the house, we have all of that framed in one frame in between the boys' rooms. So that ought to do it for baseball stories, don't you think? So, Jimmy Erie, you are not jealous. Jimmy, while you're on there, where is the song right now? Jimmy wrote the song, I Called Mama, that Tim McGraw has done. And I know it's like storming up the charts. Where is it? Can you tell us? Can you tell us? Do you know? Are you paying attention? Or you're probably writing so many songs you don't even care. But anyway, let's see. Who else is here? We're going to say goodbye in just a minute. Denise Murray says, I love baseball stories. You know what? One day I want to come on here and read the Baseball Boys and Bad Words thing to you. So Jimmy says the song is at number 10 right now. That's awesome. Good, man. Congratulations. So I called Mama. If you ought to go call your radio station right now. Just tell them to play it. Sonia, are you still on there? Sonia, let me tell you guys something else you want to go see. And that is, you need to go to YouTube and see, I think I mentioned this the other day. It's Fortune Walker. Another guy and Isaacs. So Fortune Walker, Rogers and Isaacs, Mike Rogers. And so, but these guys, wow, we just got to get them a name. Fortune Walker, Rogers, Isaacs, that's not a name. It's a bunch of names. We need to call them something. And so we're gonna figure that out. Hey, and the Ramsey guys, I just saw somebody from Dave Ramsey's, the Ramsey Solutions, Joe Levitt. Hey, buddy, I'm coming. Well, I'm going to be there. I think I'm going to be there September 9th. It's the day after the book releases. So I'm going to be up there with you guys. Going to do your morning thing and then do the show with Dave. And I think September 8th I'm doing Rick and Bubba. So this will be good, just right up the interstate. So anyway, at some point, I am going to I will read you the Baseball Boys and Bad Words story. We're out of time for today. But at some point, I want to read that to you. I still hear about that. That is like, that's probably the funniest thing I've ever written. And so I am proud of them. But, it is true. I mean, I wish I had made it up. I wish I had that kind of imagination. I changed a couple of names, but that is totally, totally true. I ran into a guy, Brock Lewis, from Dothan, Alabama, in the airport, I don't know, a bunch of years ago, and Brock said, do you remember, we're just talking about Dothan, he says, hey, do you remember the time that we had the coach that couldn't say his L's, and I said, yeah, Brock, I wrote a book about that, and that story's actually in some 8th grade literature books, but he was amazed. But Brock was standing there. I mean, it really happened. Hey, tonight the Jimmy Erie show in the Erie Chapel. It's going to be at 5:00, and Sonia is going to be with him. So this will be great. And Jimmy will probably, if you just like get on him enough, he'll probably do I Call Mama. And he does it better than Tim McGraw anyway. So then you hear it that way. And so Jim McQuaig, Shride, Re-Shride, that's exactly right. And that's exactly what the man said too. That's exactly what he said. So thank you guys, and we'll see you Thursday. We're going to be back on Thursday. We got a surprise for you on Thursday on the Blue Plate Special, and we will see you then. Thanks for being with us.